All right, guys. Injuries for the game. Bryce Huff will be out. Brendel out. Yetur out. Ricky out. Purdy out. Spencer Burford will be questionable. Gifford will be questionable. And Demo will be questionable. Go ahead.
Will Brock make the trip?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Why would he make it this time as opposed to the last one? Shorter flight, or was it?
Just 2 weeks better.
Okay.
How has Demo's progression been?
Good, going the right direction. I feel pretty good about him.
The NFL sent out something today with the NFLPA regarding the NBA gambling thing to kind of remind NFL players about what they can and can't do. Is that something you address with them, or does somebody else take care of that?
No, I don't address that with them. We got too much other stuff to worry about. Hopefully, they don't have time to do that stuff right now. But you asked if they sent something out.
They've sent something out to all players.
Yeah. No, that's something I know we all go through that in the off season with these mandatory meetings that we have. The NFL sends people out to speak with us. Obviously, it's a huge deal. It's got to be taken seriously, but nothing we're associating right now with our team.
We begin to zero in on a week for opening Brandon Ayuk's practice window.
Have we what?
Are you zeroing in on a
Yeah, I believe he's getting a lot closer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could that happen next week?
It could. I think we're week to week now, so hopefully it'll be sooner than later.
What goes into last week? You used 48. The fact that Warner wore 48 is maybe a little motivation for the guys. What went into that, and what goes into your speeches? I guess Saturday. What's the theme generally?
What went into 48 was just I was showing film on Fred, and he was wearing 48. So I didn't think anything of the number. I pointed out how different he looked, and it wasn't just the number. It was just how a lot of these guys look as rookies, and then how they look now, just from the lack of dreads, the lack of before the play started, he didn't look as good of a player, and now he looks unbelievable before the play starts, during the play, and after the play. Was kind of the point of it. But all, like when you say Saturday night meetings or speeches or whatever, they're all whatever I think we need at the moment. Sometimes I got nothing, and usually I have a routine on Saturdays. Usually I'll sit and watch the games from the week before. I'll watch the offense, and I'll watch the defense, and I'll watch the special teams. And usually by the time, if I don't have anything then, I rewatch the practice. And usually by the time that's over, I know exactly what I feel we need to hear and what I want to say. And but sometimes it's not always a fun process. It's definitely not something I just plan out. It's something I always try to find what I think we need.
How many coordinators would you say are like to the level of Robert, who has come in and done amazingly well with a group that was really new, a lot of rookies, and then also dealing with a ton of injuries early on the season?
I don't know. I can't really answer that way, like the number of guys and stuff. I know Robert's as good of a D coordinator as I've ever been around, as good of one as I've ever gone against. But I can't speak for everyone else. I haven't worked with everybody and haven't gone against everyone. And sometimes going against someone doesn't always tell the whole story. But just being with Robert as, when he was a QC in Houston for 4 years, to then being with him for 4 years here as a D coordinator, and then being here now with him after him going away to be a head coach. Just all the things he's been through, the different situations, how talented he is in general. But then being in those situations have, to me, made him one of the best, if not the best. That's good.
Kyle, how much do you enjoy your Friday night JV football nights off? And have you ever watched JV football and said, "Hey, I got a pretty good idea there"?
Yeah, sometimes. I usually get more annoyed that I see stuff in high school games that we're doing. I start to realize, man, they're doing it here now too. Everyone's phone shows everything now. So I get annoyed when I see it in the NFL or college, but then when what's happening there, I realize those days are over of keeping anything to just your own team. But I really enjoy going to those games. It's mainly, I always call Fridays. If we have a home game, I always call Friday afternoon our weekend. So to enjoy our weekend, I love being able to go watch my son play, hang around my daughters and my wife, and Yeah, whether I'm around football or not, it's not the big deal. It's kind of just being in the atmosphere and going out to dinner, and then I usually do the openers and go to bed. So it's a short weekend, but it's a lot more fun when I have a football game to go to.
You met Robert in Houston, right? That was the first.
Yes.
What was he like back in, what was it, I think 06?
He was just as bald, just as jacked. Pretty much looks the exact same as he does now. Robert was always, he was a defense quality control, and he was, he always wrote like he was different than me. I didn't even know how to do email, and still really don't. And he was the QC and could get everything done so fast, which sometimes annoyed me. I'm like, how you getting your work done fast? And he would read the directions actually and computer manuals, and he would start to program everything on his own to make things faster. And I'd be like, what IT guy did you get to do that? And he'd be like, no, I just read the directions and figured it out. So he had a little different style than me, but it was pretty cool how smart he was with all that stuff. Sometimes I think it hurt him in terms of D coordinators really wanted him as a QC because of how good he was at that stuff, and so they didn't want to lose him somewhere as a position coach, so I think it took him a little bit longer. But he was as good of anyone that I've been around at that level, and I remember trying hard to get us to hire him in Washington as a linebacker coach, and never really got my opportunity until I came here, but that's why he was one of the first guys I thought about as a coordinator.
You're saying he didn't blow off his exams in college, you don't think?
No, he I think he did something else before coaching. I think he was planning on making a lot of money in finance maybe. I was on a one-way track. It was football or nothing for me. So
On the QC tip, as the season progresses, do you want to meet with those guys a little bit more because you're scouting other teams, looking at other teams to know what better defines like what you are, or do you kind of know all that off the top of your head?
what do you mean by other?
Well, like your tendencies, like do you want your guys to define you to yourself, so you kind of maybe remind you, or maybe you don't?
Yeah,
Aware.
no, I like to think I got an idea. I'm always every time you think of something, or call something or anything, you're relating it to something else. You're constantly thinking about that. But if there was anything that I didn't know that I figured out on my own, like if all of a sudden I just looked up something and found out how bad this was, and no one brought it to my attention and they knew that, then I would be really bothered. Like I expect that if anything's wrong, we have a whole analytics department, we got QCs, I got position coaches, we got players. If there's anyone who knows something that's messed up or seems weird, it's probably not on purpose. So I want stuff always brought to my attention, so we got a chance to fix it. And sometimes people do bring stuff to my attention. I'm like, yes, I know. I'm very well aware that we have a pass tendency on 2nd and 20. Things like that. And some things you're like, all right, that was good, or no, I'm aware, and you can move on. But you want to make sure that no one's ever afraid to tell you something. It's because you need everyone looking out after you, because you get lost in stuff a lot as a position coach, a coordinator, or as a head coach. All right, thanks, guys.